Continuing our exploration of sonata cycle, let's move now to the string quartet. You may remember that the string quartet is not only a genre, it's an ensemble, so that can be a little bit confusing. String quartets play string quartets. What my students sometimes think is that if there are 4 string players in an orchestra, that's a string quartet. That's not the case. Get more than 4 players on the stage, it's no longer a quartet. So our string quartet, 4 people sitting there. We know that the string players have a very homogeneous sort of sound, so we have a timbre that doesn't change much from the bottom to the top of the instruments, which means that the composer of a string quartet really focuses on the melody, harmony, texture, all of those elements to create the interest in the piece, because changing timbres is not going to be the way that that's achieved in a string quartet. The composer who really developed the string quartet was Joseph Haydn, and he's so associated with that we call him the father of the string quartet. So he wrote lots of them. He tended to write them in sets of 6, so he would write like 6 string quartets in a bunch, and so when you see the titles of them, it'll often say string quartet, opus such and such, number 1, number 5, number 4, whatever. So you'll just know that's because he tended to write them in bunches. So the string quartet can be kind of an acquired taste because it doesn't have the dramatic variety of sounds that we're used to hearing with different kinds of ensembles that have less homogeneous instruments. So you really have to focus on the music itself. So the piece that we're going to listen to is Haydn's String Quartet in C major, Opus 53, number 3. So Opus 53 tells us that this is a sort of a middle work for Haydn, and that this is the 3rd of the set of string quartets in this particular opus. This one has a nickname. Lots of Haydn's music does. Even Haydn has a nickname. He's known as Papa Haydn. He lived to be pretty old and was sort of the father figure for a lot of younger composers, so we often refer to him as Papa Haydn. But his works often have nicknames as well. He has his Surprise Symphony, where he has a movement that goes along and it's all very sort of peaceful, and all of a sudden he goes boom, and there's this note that surprises you. So he was a kind of a jokester. He had a good sense of humor, and his pieces often reflect that. So this one's called The Bird. So as you listen to it, you might try to figure out why he called this the bird. What's the musical element of this that sounds bird-like to us? We've heard birds before, right? We heard Vivaldi's Four Seasons. We heard the spring and the birds twittering. So we have a general idea about what birds might sound like in music, and you can listen for that as you listen to this piece. So it's in 4 movements. It fits the sonata cycle in that respect. But he kind of messes up with the order on this. So we have our opening movement, our allegro moderato, which would be our standard sonata allegro form. So what's the next movement supposed to be? It's supposed to be something slow, right? That's what we expect with the second movement. He switches things up. Instead of having the 3rd movement be the minuet and trio movement, he puts that movement in the 2nd slot. So we have our fast movement, and then we have our triple meter movement. You'll notice that it's not called a minuet and trio in the piece. It's called a scherzo. We've already seen that with Beethoven, that he had taken that minuet and trio, picked up the tempo on it, made it faster, more lively. Scherzo is another word for joke, so that it sort of fits right in with Haydn's style anyway. Let's put a scherzo in the 2nd movement, not where we expect it to be. But the form is going to be a minuet and trio form, so you can recognize that going back to the beginning, the change of key in the middle, so it's a good chance to practice that. So he puts a slow movement in the 3rd slot, and then in the ending, for the finale, he's going to have another nice rondo for you. So this is a good chance to practice listening for the rondo, your minuet and trio form in that 2nd movement, and for your sonata allegro in the 1st movement. So enjoy this string quartet by Haydn and get another chance to practice all the things you know about sonata cycle.